Hey guys, Jess here, and welcome to a very special Minecraft Diaries video. This video is Diaries lore, and it's basically every main thing that you need to know about Minecraft Diaries in order to get into the next season. So if you want to introduce this series to your friends, but you're not really sure where to start on how to explain things, well, now you can just reference to them this video, and when they watch it, they'll be able to know all the main stuff going on. And if they're interested, they can go back and reference the other episodes just so they can get that piece of the story. Now, it goes over the main points of Diaries. It doesn't go over all the in-depth character stories. So if you guys want to contribute to all that crazy stuff about a certain character or a certain plot line, you can go look in the description down below. There will be a link to a Wikipedia dedicated to Aphmau exactly, but it's also used as a Minecraft Diaries wiki. So if you want to check it out and you want to contribute to that, do so, because it does keep people updated and there's so much going on in Diaries and it's just crazy. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video of Minecraft Diaries lore so you can get all caught up, just get your memory refreshed on everything, that way you can keep up with the next season. Until then, take care. Enjoy! Minecraft Diaries Season 2 has officially come to a close in its 100th episode season finale. But what exactly is Minecraft Diaries about? After watching this video, you'll know all the important information needed in order to begin Season 2. But wait, Aphmau, didn't you say that Season 2 ended? How are you starting Season 2 again? Well, the very first Minecraft Diaries, now known as Minecraft Diaries Origins, had nothing to do with the storyline we all know and love in Diaries today. Therefore, what was once labeled as Season 2 is now the official Season 1, and we're moving into the brand new official Season 2. But enough of that, let's begin with a summary of Minecraft Diaries Season 1. The Minecraft player Aphmau is born into what she believes is a regular Minecraft world. Upon doing so, she sets out to do what any good Minecraftian would: survive. Almost immediately after surveying her surroundings, she sees a masked player off in the distance behind a tree. She chases him down but loses sight of him. She shrugs off his disappearance and comes to realize that she's now in a Minecraft village that is populated with some interesting personalities. Two that stand out in particular are the guards of the village, Garth and his guard apprentice, Zenix. Garth seems disturbed as their previous lord is assumed to have disappeared, and people as well as time are acting rather dysfunctional. Not just that, but Garth is missing a portion of his memory from the previous lord as well as the name of the village he protects. Garth welcomes Aphmau to the village but is preoccupied with what to do, as without a proper lord, the village is in a state of emptiness. Aphmau decides to settle in, and Garth finds that she is more than willing to help with improving the village. In fact, she does it of her own accord. During her time in the village, she manages to help bring in new villagers as well as help those previous ones discover their own talents and personalities. Garth begins to feel more comfortable about forgetting the old lord and moving on. He instructs Zenix to take Brendan and demolish the old lord's home so they can begin looking for a new lord to lead the village. During the demolition, Zenix and Brendan discover a cellar that can't be opened without a key. After bringing it to the attention of Garth, Aphmau exclaims that she recently came across a key that might be the one they're looking for. Zenix and Brendan wait around at night while still demolishing the old lord's home. However, lurking in the shadows is something terrible. The next day, Aphmau finds out that Brendan had been shot by an arrow and was in need of urgent care. Garth sends Aphmau to Brightport to bring back some medication that Garth can apply to Brendan's wound. Once Brendan comes to a better state, Garth talks to Aphmau about how Zenix saw the masked figure who pierced Brendan with an arrow. Garth leads Zenix into the woods in an attempt to apprehend the culprit. However, Zenix has other plans for Garth and shoots him with an arrow in the same spot that Brendan was shot. Meanwhile, Aphmau is going about her daily self-assigned duties when she sees the same mysterious stranger from her first time in the world reappear right outside the village. He looks at her and then leaves an injured Garth on the floor. Aphmau takes Garth to the farmhouse where he can be monitored by Kiki and heads up to Brightport to bring back the same doctor who sent the medicine to help Brendan from before. Now in Phoenix Drop, the doctor says that it's beyond his common medical skills to heal someone as injured as Garth. However, according to the doctor, the Lord of Brightport is incredibly skilled at healing magics. She heads to Brightport but discovers that the Lord has been missing for some time. Determined to heal Garth, she seeks help from anyone in the village who can give her leads on the Lord's whereabouts and comes across a boy named John. In exchange for information, John then requests of Aphmau her assistance in helping his best friend Lowell, the werewolf cub, out of a hunter's cage. Aphmau sneaks into the hunter's house and rescues the pup and returns him to his werewolf tribe. Upon returning the pup, Aphmau is attacked by the alpha werewolf, who is blinded by his anger towards humans. Aphmau refuses to fight him as she wants to make peace. As the alpha werewolf begins his attack, he smells a familiar scent on Aphmau. It is the scent of Kiki, a villager from Aphmau's village. Prior to Aphmau coming to Brightport, Kiki had given Aphmau a stuffed bunny toy that would help her if she were to deal with the werewolves. It turns out that Kiki was a very good friend of the werewolf tribe and had very much respect amongst them. The alpha werewolf calms down and comes to his senses. He apologizes to Aphmau, claiming that a friend of Kiki's is a friend of his. Aphmau asks about the Lord of Brightport, and the alpha gladly helps her out, but takes her to the safety of the wolf tribe village in order to explain what had happened. Now in the wolf tribe village, the alpha reveals his name to be Boldoff, and explains to Aphmau that the Lord of Brightport had come to the wolf village to discuss peace with the wolves. However, the Lord had interrupted a ritual. The wolves were summoning the Nether portal, believing they could control the monsters in it. They were greatly mistaken, and then an unknown demon rushed out of a newly summoned portal and took the wolf cub Kiva. The Lord of Brightport attempted to save Kiva by jumping in, but the demon of the Nether ended up destroying the portal as it went back into the realm. Obsidian is a very difficult material to obtain for any person or creature in the world of Minecraft Diaries. However, Aphmau gets lucky enough that she can create obsidian and quickly mine it. Aphmau then enters another portal to discover a very ominous castle inside. She figures the wolf cub Kiva is inside and rushes in to save her. She fights her way through what seems to be guards and finds Kiva, but not before she comes face to face with a pair of floating eyes watching her. She is then attacked by a mysterious force and manages to subdue it temporarily in order to get Kiva out. Aphmau then asks Kiva where the Lord of Brightport is, and Kiva states that he was taken away by a masked man. They manage to get out of the Nether and come to the overworld realm. Aphmau finds that the wolf village has been burnt to the ground. She returns Kiva and discovers that the people who did this are trying to revive a shadow that lives in the Nether realm. Aphmau sets off to find the people who did this, as she concludes that they were from the Nether and must have some idea of the whereabouts of the Lord of Brightport. She finds a trail of blood that leads to a secret door on a hillside, and inside finds more than she wanted. Zenix, the guard apprentice, is standing guard and attacks Aphmau. Aphmau manages to knock him out, but the masked player returns, grabs the unconscious Zenix, and vanishes. Inside the lair, Aphmau finds the Lord of Brightport, who thanks her for her heroic efforts. They return to Brightport, where the Lord discloses what happened to him. In the Nether, he was taken captive by beings called Shadow Knights, who used a crystal on him to absorb his healing magics. He no longer has the ability to heal people himself, but tells Aphmau that he has 2 potions that are as potent as any magics. To thank her, he gives her a potion for Garth and sends her off. Back at Garth's bedside, Aphmau administers a potion and Garth comes too. However, it isn't a happy moment, as Aphmau tells Garth of Zenix's attempt to kill her. Garth is taken aback and can't do anything more than think on it. At this point in the story, Aphmau has become so involved with the world that she no longer identifies as a regular player, but instead as a being of the world itself. She finds out that the name of the village she's been inhabiting is called Phoenix Drop, and openly decides to become the new lord of it. The next morning, after giving Garth the healing potion, Aphmau finds a box outside of her door. She hears crying coming from it and quickly opens it to discover a baby had been left at her doorstep with a name tag that says Levin. She quickly takes the baby to Garth, who questions her, but immediately falls in love with the baby and offers to help raise him. The village is happy and a baby shower is thrown for Aphmau and Levin. Zoe, the fairy elf, becomes the caretaker of Levin for a while, but later in the series becomes a more permanent nanny for him. Time passes and Garth receives word that a mother from the village of Scaleswind is looking for her baby who matches the description of Levin perfectly. Aphmau decides that the right thing to do is to give Levin back to his mom, but Garth wants to make sure that this is Levin's mother. Aphmau travels to Scaleswind to question the mother before she hands over Levin, but the trip is a very long one. Along the way to Scaleswind, Aphmau comes to a cat island inhabited by a crazy cat lady and decides to make camp there for the night. When she wakes, she discovers that one of the cats had grown huge, and the cat lady blames her and demands she fixes this by getting a potion from a shaman in the village called Matelli. Aphmau heads to the village of Matelli, where she meets the head guard of the village, Lawrence. Lawrence shows an incredible romantic interest in Aphmau and goes as far as to admitting it right off the bat. Aphmau dismisses his advances, which he playfully sulks over. Lawrence then tells Aphmau that the previous Lord of Matelli was recently assassinated, and that Matelli has an internal election between Hayden and Kenmer, two Lord candidates. However, Cadenza, daughter of Hayden and crush of Kenmer, has been gone and missing, and the two blame each other for her disappearance. Aphmau decides that it's not her business and finds the shaman and thanks Lawrence for the information. She meets the chicken shaman and finds out that Cadenza is with him. Only, she's been turned into a beautiful red rose chicken on accident. The chicken shaman exclaims that the potion accidentally fell on her and he's been trying to figure out how to change her back, but needs time. After helping the chicken shaman with some ridiculous chores, Aphmau gets the potion for the crazy cat lady's cat and returns and fixes the cat. Aphmau continues her journey to Scaleswind, encountering some interesting people and places, many of which she stopped to help out. Eventually, she comes across a maid cafe belonging to a girl named Kawaii-chan and gets a little maid all for herself. She continues her journey and ends up coming across an old man who explains that he is looking for some Wyvern layer logs and asks Aphmau if she would be able to get some in the Wyvern dimension. Aphmau agrees, and the old man gives her a staff which transports her to the Wyvern realm. In the Wyvern realm, Aphmau meets with the Elder, who explains why she should not give the Wyvern layer logs to anyone. The logs can be used in a ritual, much like the Nether ritual, that would allow people to come in and might accidentally spark the second Wyvern-Human Realm War. Aphmau questions what this war was, and the Wyvern Elder goes into how it was a war that was a very long time ago that was stopped by Lady Irene, using both her power and her determination. Aphmau agrees to not give any of the wood to the old man who sent her there. When she leaves, she emerges in the overworld, and Aphmau lies to the old man and says that she was never able to get the logs. The old man goes crazy and reveals himself to be Zenix. His eyes are completely changed, and he immediately attacks Aphmau, almost killing her. However, Aphmau's little maid has summoned her friends from the maid cafe to help save her and take Aphmau to safety. Aphmau wakes up in Kawaii-chan's maid cafe and explains what happens. After Aphmau is done with her explanation, Kawaii-chan decides that it's time to relocate. Aphmau then heads towards Scaleswind and begins her search for the mother of Levin. Aphmau finds Levin's mother trapped in a secret holding cell and attempts to rescue her, but Levin's mother refuses. She discloses the fact that she was the old lord of Phoenix Drop's wife, and that Levin is their son. However, Zenix had recently discovered that Levin was in the bloodline of Lady Irene and is planning to use Levin as a ritual sacrifice. In order to protect Levin, she allowed a mysterious man she trusted to get Levin to safety. Levin's mother is relieved to know that the masked man did not hurt Levin but took him back home, and that he is in the safe care of Aphmau. She states that if Levin and her were to be together, then Levin would be in a constant state of danger and potentially killed. She sadly asks Aphmau to keep him as her son. Aphmau agrees, and Levin's mom tearfully gives Aphmau a music box of a song she used to sing to him. Aphmau, in tears, leaves Levin's mom with a newfound respect for her. Aphmau makes her way back to Phoenix Drop, and on the way runs into Lawrence, who is riding his wyvern, Ungerth, who he offers to Aphmau to use to get home faster. Aphmau accepts and returns home in no time. Aphmau finds out that Zenix made his way to Phoenix Drop and attacked it. He got into such a clash with Garth that Garth's helm was badly damaged, revealing Garth's face. Garth claims that he must hide his face for his personal reasons. Lawrence requests the aid of Aphmau and Matelli. Once there, she discovers Hayden and Kenmer are at each other's throats, and Lawrence wants Aphmau to visit the chicken shaman to get Cadenza. Aphmau agrees, but upon her arrival to the chicken shaman's hut, she finds a note from the Shadow Knight Sasha, who has slaughtered all the chickens. She demands that the chicken shaman come to the Nether for the rest of his chicken people. Lawrence and Aphmau swiftly make their way to the Nether and save the chicken shaman, but in the process, Lawrence stays behind and sacrifices himself to save Aphmau. The Nether portal is then destroyed from the inside, trapping and sealing Lawrence and the Shadow Knights away. Time passes, and Phoenix Drop is getting ready to celebrate the wedding of Logan and Donna, when the High Priest Zane is called to perform their ceremony. Zane is the priest of the faith of Lady Irene, and his presence is considered a very honorable one. After the ceremony and seeing Donna and Logan off to their honeymoon, Zane confronts Aphmau and Garth about Garth being his elder brother, as well as the son of the Lord of the village state Ocassus. It's discovered that Garth has a fiancée, and that his fiancée is a daughter of Scaleswind, as well as the fact that the marriage is an arranged one in order to bring about an alliance between Scaleswind and Ocassus. Zane threatens to take Garth away from Phoenix Drop in order to make the marriage happen. Garth is distraught at the whole idea and simply waits out the days. Lawrence is eventually saved from the Nether by the Wyvern Ungirth, who was able to transcend the realm barrier, but in return loses his life. Ungirth's spirit was left in a stone that serves as his memento. Zane is discovered to be pure evil after having using an amulet on one of the village children in order to turn them into a Shadow Knight. This causes a darkness to overtake Phoenix Drop. Aphmau saves a child, Alexis, who is now an adult in a constant state of slumber. In order to get rid of the darkness, Aphmau constructs a shrine to Lady Irene, which cannot be complete without Ungirth's spirit stone. After obtaining the stone, a mystical statue of Lady Irene appears, blessing the land and curing the darkness. Zane is nowhere to be found, and the assumption is made that he fled after having done such a horrible thing. While looking through the village, Aphmau sees a white wolf and discovers that it's Lowell, all grown up. Lowell explains that Boldoff needs Kiki's help, and Kiki is the only one with the experience and tolerance to cure him. Aphmau and Kiki make their way to the wolf village and aid Boldoff in his recovery. Just then, a familiar face reappears. It's Donna, the woman who was just married to Logan. Donna's in a panic as during their honeymoon, Donna and Logan decided to try to find out more about Logan's werewolf origins. When doing so, got them mixed up in another human/werewolf war. Logan was being held prisoner, and Donna made her escape thanks to Dante, a new guard who just finished his training. Dante and Aphmau then set out to save Logan, but are chased down by werewolves. They find shelter inside a castle, which is discovered to be possessed by a ghost child named Malachi. Malachi has the magic's ability to show people their worst fears. While he was busy scaring Dante and Aphmau, Lawrence and Garth had made their way into the castle, as they wanted to help Lord Aphmau on her journey. Lawrence and Garth both saw an illusion of Aphmau and Dante kissing, and had quickly reacted, shattering Malachi's shadow form and revealing his true identity. Aphmau decides to adopt Malachi, even though he's a ghost, and sets out to find a monk to release his spirit from the castle. She wanders the frozen tundra and comes across a baby owl. She is then surrounded by a tribe of werewolves she's never encountered before, and is at their mercy. Thankfully, she is quickly saved by a mysterious stranger, whose face she cannot seem to make out. He leaves saying little to nothing. She finds the monk for Malachi, breaks the curse, and sets off again to find Logan, with now Garth, Lawrence, Dante, Malachi, and the baby owl in tow. Eventually, they reach the wolf village where Logan is being held captive and attempt to sneak in, but are swiftly discovered. They are thrown into cells where they meet with the witch Lucinda, who expresses that she could potentially set everyone free, but has lost her spirit familiar and cannot perform witchcrafts without it. Aphmau shows Lucinda the baby owl, and it turns out that the owl is indeed Lucinda's familiar. Lucinda hatches a plan to escape, and the group is successful. Now with Logan and Lucinda in tow, the group makes their way to Lucinda's hut in the distant forest. Lucinda begins to help Logan recover, while in the meantime, Garth remembers a request that Azura, the guard of Brightport, had made. The Lord of Brightport had gone missing while in conversations of peace with the Lord of Picaro Village. Since they were so close to Picaro Village and Lucinda needed time to heal Logan's wounds, Garth asked Aphmau if she wouldn't mind investigating the situation. Aphmau does, and discovers that both the Lords of Brightport and Picaro Village were being kept prisoner right underneath the well in the center. They were being experimented on what looked like to be Shadow Knight transformation ceremonies pedestals. While trying to get them out of the well, Aphmau is confronted by Geoffrey the Golden Heart, a member of the Jury of Nine, Zane's most powerful guards. Instead of knocking her out and taking her to Zane, he allows her to leave with both lords alive. The lords are recovered and form an alliance with Aphmau called the Phoenix Alliance. This alliance would be called upon by any village at any time whenever they were in need. Logan recovers, and the group makes their way back to Phoenix Drop, along with some of the new friends they had made along the way, who eventually become more permanent members of the village of Phoenix Drop. In the following weeks, Phoenix Drop decides that the village needs more defenses and decide to create a wall. However, on the docks, a giant ship makes its way aboard. In the following weeks, Phoenix Drops decides to up its village defenses and create a wall. However, on the docks, a giant ship makes its way. Aboard is Caitlin the Fire Fist, a member of the Jury of 9. She's come to ask Aphmau about her encounter with Jeffrey the Golden Heart. In order to repay Jeffrey's kindness, she does not mention that she ever met him but once at a tavern when she first arrived in Picaro Village. Caitlin doesn't pursue Aphmau more than asking a few questions and simply takes her leave back to her boat. Just as the new gate around the village of Phoenix Drop is finished, a familiar face appears at the doors. It's Zane, but he's not alone. The Lord of Scaleswind is with him, and he's demanding Aphmau give back his daughter. Confused about his request, Aphmau inquires as to who his daughter is, and when it's revealed that it's Nicole, a friend who Aphmau made during her previous adventure, Aphmau quickly heads to Nicole's house but finds it to be ransacked. She's gone missing. She returns to the gate to tell the Lord of Scaleswind that Nicole cannot be found. He threatens Aphmau with war if she does not produce Nicole within the next 5 days. Zane taunts Aphmau with the proposition of finding Nicole for her if he gives her the special amulet that she's been holding. Figuring that the amulet might be something that Zane could make use of against her people and the world, she decides not to give it to him. Zane walks off laughing. It's evident at this point that he knows where Nicole is. Aphmau then has Lawrence act as the guardian of the amulet. Search parties are on constant patrol for Nicole. However, Aphmau must prepare her village for the worst and begins to rally up everyone as well as summon the Phoenix Alliance to fight by her side. Garth, during this time, becomes distant from her, and Lawrence steps up to help Aphmau in her time of need. The day before the war, the Alliance members have arrived and get ready for the potential battle. Kenmer, a scientist from Metelli, says that he has an invention that might be able to help him find Nicole, and if he works on it with Emmeline the Scholar, they might be able to get it done before the war starts. In the morning, the Lord of Scaleswind appears with his armies at the gates, and asks Aphmau one last time where his daughter is. Aphmau, unfortunately, cannot produce Nicole. She then reaches out to Zane to stop this war before anything happens and offers her hand in marriage. Zane laughs and tells her he'll accept her offer if she wins the war. Scaleswind attacks and an epic battle ensues. Meanwhile, Kenmer and Emmeline find Nicole, and just as Aphmau confronts the Lord of Scaleswind, Nicole makes her appearance and punches her father in the face for being so foolish. Aphmau and the Lord of Scaleswind reconcile their differences, and Scaleswind joins the Phoenix Alliance, making Zane their new target of distaste for all his lies. Aphmau begins to clean up after the war when she finds an unconscious Lawrence in front of Ungrit's grave. When Lawrence comes to, he reveals that Garth had knocked him out and stolen the amulet. Aphmau, Lawrence, Caitlin, Kenmer, and Emmeline then decide to head out into the woods to find Garth. The stranger who has been seeking revenge on Zane this entire time says he's been tracking Garth and knows the direction he aims to go in. He reveals that the amulet has the power to take one to any dimension of their desire. After heading into the woods, the group discovers Garth handing the amulet to Zane. Zane then makes it known that Garth has become a member of the Jury of 9 and is evil of his own free will. Garth takes his Jury of 9 form and then strips Caitlin of her Jury of 9 title. Zane then teleports everyone to a dimension known as the Dimension of Lady Irene, where time moves much quicker than in the overworld. Zane came for the relic of Lady Irene. Lawrence, Caitlin, Aphmau, the stranger all head into the shrine of Irene to stop him. Just as Zane is about to absorb the relic of Irene, the relic appears in front of Aphmau instead and is absorbed into her being. A furious Zane changes into an unknown form and attempts to kill Aphmau. The stranger saves her, and the two fight alongside each other to stop Zane. Meanwhile, Lawrence keeps Garth at bay from intruding on the fight. Lawrence tries to talk Garth back into being the noble knight he knows he is. Garth eventually comes to and stands in front of Zane's blade just as he's about to kill Aphmau. A mysterious portal appears from nowhere, hosted by a somewhat familiar face. Lawrence decides to take a chance and have everyone leave out of it. Garth then sacrifices himself for everyone to leave safely, redeeming the quality that made him who he is. Now, stuck in the dimension of Lady Irene with a furious Zane, Garth is left to battle it out, while Aphmau and the group return to a time in the future. That was a lot of lore to go over. Really? A lot of lore. And there is so much more in-depth story going on in Minecraft Diaries. Some amazing characters have some amazing backstories. So check it out if you would like to. There's a whole playlist which will be linked in the description below. There's also a playlist linked at the end of this little channel splash page. You'll be able to see that if you want to check out the entire playlist. Again, just want to keep you guys up to date with what's going on with Minecraft Diaries, so that way you can get into it, get your friends into it, get your mom into it, get your dad, get your cat into it. I think that'd be great. Your cat would love it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this Diaries Lore special episode. Be sure to stay tuned for the next season coming out in the next 2 days. Until then, take care. Bye-bye!